Hello, my name is Nicholas Morgan, and I'm an editor at Ahval News, and this is Turkey Abroad. Joining me today from Washington, D.C. is Rushan Abbas. She is the founder and executive director at the Campaign for Uyghurs. Rushan, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Nicholas. Thank you for paying attention to the situation and giving me opportunity to talk about China's genocidal actions against the Uyghurs.
So to start it off I'd like to point to some of the remarks I saw you gave recently at a virtual press conference to the OIC, the Organization for Islamic Cooperation, and they're very powerful. They were very powerful remarks, I will say. And you were mentioning how many Muslim countries are not speaking up forcefully enough against China's oppression of the Uyghurs in Xinjiang. And you singled out Turkey as an example of a Muslim nation that has spoken up for protecting their rights. What is it that lets Turkey, in your view, speak out like this and compare it to some of their other counterparts in the Muslim world?
Turkey has been always supportive, and the President Erdogan always has been very vocal about the Uyghur situation. And back in 2009, when there's Urumqi massacre happened, President Erdogan was one and the only leader in the world called that this is genocide. What was happening then was a genocide. So, and the sign is Turkish, I'm talking about Turkey, sorry about that. The foreign minister Çavuşoğlu also spoke very harshly against China's crimes. I think that was about a year and a half ago. And also he repeatedly raised his voice in the United Nations as well, and the other European platforms. So Turkey has been always strong supporter. We have a ethnical and the linguistic and the cultural ties with Turkey as well, because Uyghur people are originally Turkic people, although the Chinese government tried to brainwash the world by releasing white papers and saying that Uyghurs has no connection with Turkey, or the Uyghur language has nothing to do with Turkish language. And I think Çavuşoğlu also, Mr. Çavuşoğlu also very, sarcastically joked about this, basically rebutting China's brainwashing and white papers. So we are very happy, we are very, it gives us hope, actually, country like Turkey and the Mr. Çavuşoğlu repeatedly supporting Uyghurs and the other parties as well. Former Prime Minister Ahmet Davutoğlu has been very vocal and supportive as well. So we understand, Turkey is in a very challenging situation, already having received so many Syrian and the other refugees, and they have taken many Uyghur refugees, and they in the past and they currently offered so much help. So we are very pleased.
And how do you think that differs from some of the other Muslim nations that have been less vocal about China's treatment of the Uyghurs, say like Saudi Arabia or Egypt or any of Turkey's neighbors, who have been comparatively more quiet?
Well, because China's spending millions and billions of dollars on those countries. And the most of those other Muslim majority countries are being very dependent on China's money. And China always has a, a track record of manipulating the politicians, some of the countries and politicians, and it's just like what they are doing in United Nations. And look at the World Health Organization. China is using the power of the Belt and Road Initiative and the debt trap diplomacy, plus as a second largest donor their strings and the manipulations in United Nations and the trade threats. Basically, China is becoming the power able to strong arm the world. The most countries like Pakistan, basically Pakistan is becoming like a province of China. Imran Khan and the Pakistani government basically has no power, no word against the China's kowtowing and every wish, and they have to repeat whatever China wants them to say. And also China is doing what they did to East Turkestan. Currently, they are operating same way in Pakistan, because you are familiar with XPCC. In Chinese, they call it Bing Tuan. In English is Xinjiang Production Construction Corp. United States government sanctioned that entity. But that is basically paramilitary, it's the military going in and acting like the regular, like people or farmers or, setting up business entities. But in reality, they are People's Republic, People's Liberation Army. So in Pakistan, they're doing the same thing. They're going in with military. Now CPEC, China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, is becoming CPEC, the CPEC A, they're ending the A to military authorities, basically. And I think if Imran Khan doesn't pay attention, pretty soon the military backed by China is going to run the entire country. And Egypt too. Egypt is by this special zone economic city, Teda Tchechu, they call it in a special zone. And the money China's investing on the Suez Canal and everything China is doing, basically, they are selling their sovereignty. They are not just taking China's money and they are becoming trapped by China's debt trap diplomacy, but they are not just giving out their freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and they are supporting Uyghur Muslims, but they are being colonized by China. And most of the Muslim majority countries are like that. So that's why, we appreciate Turkey being strong against such a manipulations and the tricks that China is offering, and still maintain, while Turkey is maintaining the economic relationship with China, but still not giving up the cost of the Turkish sovereignty, still trying to raise awareness. But we want more. We really want Turkey to be more vocal and to take some tangible actions. We hope that similar resolutions or bills will be introduced in Turkish parliament. In the United States, we have Uyghur Human Rights Policy Act passed, and now we have Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act. We really want to see Turkey enact a parliamentary resolution similar to what was done in the United States. And also, Australia is taking actions. Australia is introducing also provision to their import and export laws to prevent Uyghur forced labor, and the European Parliament and the UK. So we really want to see Turkey is actually starting to take some real tangible actions against China's genocidal policies.
So one question that comes to mind based on your answer is that Turkey's able to speak out against China despite having some pretty robust economic relations with it still, especially since Turkey is on the One Belt, One Road corridor, as the middle corridor, as some of them refer to it as, and in some cases have been courting that investment to help its economy. But does that relationship worry you in any way that China could be trying to buy more silence from Turkey, especially since Turkey's been the most vocal against their actions in Xinjiang compared to some of the other neighbors in the Middle East?
I'm sure. I'm sure China has been trying, and I'm sure there are like a fine prints on every contract or deal, business deal that Turkey has with China. Turkey, China's expecting Turkey to be silent, but at the same time, Turkey, as I mentioned, always has been very vocal, and compared to other countries, Turkey is a European country, actually, democratic country. It's not like a totalitarian or dictatorship countries like others, other countries, press, the media, like freedom of print and freedom of expression. Turkey is not like that. Turkey is a diplomatic country. Turkey has voice from different parties. And there are some very strong opposition support for the Uyghur. Excuse me. So there are some very strong voices coming from some other opposition parties. There are people like Vetan Party and being China's mouthpiece, and the people like Do Princhak has been attacking us and accusing us for being, having a different goal and the lying about what's happening. But as we said the last time when we were in Turkey, Dobrinjak and the people like, his party, they should just go and check people in Istanbul, Uyghur people in Istanbul. Every one of them has a family members missing. Every one of them are being victims of China's crimes against humanity. Are they all also being paid by CIA, or are those like thousands of Uyghurs? There's like 50, 60,000 Uyghurs recently, moved to Istanbul, and every one of them has family members. So when you look at, the media coverage that we have currently in Turkey, even if not in the mainstream media, we are not getting a chance to respond to the whole project's accusations in mainstream media. We understand that because, as I mentioned, China has, conditions and the requests from Turkish government that every piece of contract. But we believe the Turkish government is strong, and we believe the democracy and the freedom that President Erdogan and the Turkish government represent. They are not going to give up on supporting their Uyghur Muslim, Uyghur Turkic brothers and sisters. As I said, Turkey is in a very, challenging situation, and they are actually, walking on the fine line with China, but we believe the diplomacy and the economic relationship that they have with China, which also comes at the cost of Turkish sovereignty. And Turkey is not going to give up on that, because when the Chinese government say win-win situation with the Belt and Road Initiative, the win and the win both are for China. At the end of the game, at the end of the deal and the economic trade relationship with China and with China's Belt and Road Initiative, there's going to be only one winner and one loser. If China is going to be the loser, they will never offer Belt and Road Initiative. China is going to be the winner. So who's going to be the loser? And I think Turkish politicians and the Turkish government see that, realize that. So I'm sure that they are not going to, give up their sovereignty for China's blood money.
I saw recently that you were able to you were in Turkey and you were able to meet with some of the representatives from all of the major parties, including the CHP, Future Party, DEVA. And I wanted to ask you, what did you get to share with members of these Turkish politicians, basically, and how receptive did you find them to what you were sharing?
Before our trip, we wrote to all parties, actually, including AKP, including Mr. Çavuşoğlu and the Mr. Süleyman Soylu, and a few other ministers from AKP party, because of course, that is the main party in charge, and we wanted
to. Did you get a chance to speak to any of them too when you were over there?
We did. We were in a good communication with them, but we were unable to see them. But they didn't reject. They didn't say that they cannot meet with us, but they tried to set up a meeting for us. But our time in Ankara was pretty short. So, and because of COVID and because of their busy schedule, we were unable to meet with them. But we did meet with almost all the other major parties. Actually, it was very receptive, very supportive. And also we started to hear some of the items and issues that we have addressed in the meetings coming out in the Turkish parliament. They are bringing it up very respectfully, and we were very appreciative for their actions and being so vocal. So we would like to see continued support from those parties, because, as I always say, this is not just about the Uyghur issue anymore. This is a test for humanity and the conscience of the world. When China is conducting genocide against the one ethnicity because of their religion, because of their ethnic background, because of their race, this is not China's internal issue. It involves all people in the world, and more than ever, it is direct involvement. It should get direct attention from Turkish government, Turkish people, and all the Muslim majority countries and the other Muslims. Unfortunately, many of the Muslim majority countries are not as strong as Turkey. They are depending on China's blood money. And also, more than anything, actually, one of the main reasons is they're also becoming victims of China's disinformation, false narratives, and false propagandas. But I believe if they really understand the situation, and if they see China is not only conducting genocide against Uyghurs, but also China is waging war on religion, waging war on Islam, and also slowly but surely colonizing. They are basically taking over, dominating those countries. I'm sure they will wake up and act very quickly, but I hope it's not going to be too late.
You mentioned that there are thousands of Uyghurs now living in Turkey, and some of them have family lines going back to 50 years, 60 years even, since they first began fleeing after the conclusion of the Chinese Civil War. And I saw that on the campaign for Uyghurs is hosting a fundraiser to help some of the homeless youth there through the winter in Turkey. And that leads me to ask, I want to know, what are some of the concerns right now of the Uyghur community in Turkey itself right now? What are the main things?
Yeah, as I mentioned, Turkish government is helping the refugees, but then when you see there are like thousands of, hundreds of thousands of refugees, I think it's more than 1 million refugees in Istanbul right now. It's difficult to get to all the people who need help. And also there are a lot of Uyghur organizations in Turkey, and they are also helping the Uyghurs, but because of there's like a generation gap, generation differences, and those Uyghur youth came to Turkey. Some of them are students, some of them came there with families, then their parents went back. And that because the parents are either disappeared in the concentration camps, or because of their relationship is, the communication is cut off, and these kids are not able to receive any kind of financial help. And they're young people, like young teenagers, or like late teens, young adults, and they don't really want to be controlled by the established organizations, and also some of them are a little more like religious organizations. So they were basically trying to make it on their own, but facing really difficulties. So we have already actually located a facility, and we are establishing as like a hope house for those youth. And we already started offering English lessons. Right now, there are some Uyghur students in Turkey taking online classes that organized by Campaign for Uyghurs twice a week, every Tuesday and Thursdays. And then if we get the fundraising that we have set the goal for, which we are at the 25% right now, and we are hoping to get this place set up for them to have like a warm house, warm place to live, and then learn some like self skills and learning the language, and the ability to support themselves soon.
Do you are you familiar with some of the reports that have come out about how some Uyghurs in Turkey, they've been deported to China, or they've been arrested and sent to, say, a third country that would then deport them back to China? How concerning do you find these news that are coming out?
Well, when there's a community, when there's a society, you don't know who's who, what's what, and that there are many issues and subjects are involved. And I trust Turkish government not knowingly sending any Uyghur needs to stay in Turkey back to any country, not third country, not China. So I am not very familiar with those cases, and there are some, like messages coming out here and there on social media. But then again, you don't know if every news on social media are true, and especially there are certain people, and especially Chinese regime doesn't want the Uyghurs to have the kind of very close and the good relationship with Turkey, with Turkish government. So, we understand that there are people trying to manipulate the situations and try to create, like hard feelings between the Uyghurs and the Turkish government. So we don't trust Turkey will do something like that.
Okay.
And also, you mentioned earlier about the CHP and the Yurter Özcan. I really want to mention him here. He's the CHP representative in Washington. He has been very helpful. He helped us to set up some meetings, in Turkey, and he has been helping with the situation in Turkey, helping the Uyghur people. And the CHP actually released a report on the current situation and the Uyghurs are facing. So I welcome, and I am very appreciative for such a help from CHP and from Mr. Yurter Özcan. And we are looking forward to working with all parties in such a level, the collaboration.
I saw another report also. It was about Uyghur, about a number of Uyghurs in Xinjiang who were actually arrested for watching a Turkish television series called Magnificent Century. Is there what is that distrust on the part of China that they might feel towards Turkish pop culture? Why would they be why would they feel it? Why would they feel the need to arrest them for viewing a series like that?
Yeah, since the communist regime's occupation of East Turkestan in 1949, the Uyghurs faced persecution under the different labels, but it came and they go, it come and go, different labels. Like during the 50s, it was counter-revolutionaries, not that during the 50s, like nationalists, and 60s during the Cultural Revolution, counter-revolutionaries, and then later separatists and this and that. But there's two labels. It came in with the Chinese communist regime and it never never went away, which is pan-Turkism and pan-Islamism. Like these are the two things that China scared the most. One is Turkey. Pan-Turkism is like all the Turkic feeling, and the pan-Islamism is the being Muslim. So Uyghurs' Muslim identity kept us being assimilated to become Han Chinese, and the Uyghurs' Turkic ethnicity kept us very strong relationship with Turkey and the Turkish government support for Uyghurs. Therefore, the Chinese government is so afraid of any kind of influence by Turkey. Not only the Uyghur youth are sent to concentration camps because they were watching Turkish soap operas, but if anybody who visited Turkey as a tourist, as coming to visit their relatives, or if they sent their children to Turkey for study, they face persecution. Imagine that, While China is trying to show the Turkish public and the Turkish government that they have this great relationship, especially economic relationship with Turkey, they are persecuting Uyghurs because they have any kind of connection with Turkey, or if they travel to Turkey, even if they watched soap opera, the Turkish soap operas. That tells you China, they're not afraid of the Western democratic countries or criticism from United States or Europe or Australia, other countries. But they were so afraid from our connection, our relationship with Turkey. You know why? Because, as we repeatedly say, the Chinese government is, with Belt and Road Initiative and with the ultra-nationalism, they are feeding the 1.4 billion Han Chinese and racism, the Chinese racism against all nations. And their war they're waging against the Islam and all religion. They wanted to dominate. They wanted to basically colonize all Muslim countries, Turkic countries, Central Asian countries, and the African countries before they start their colonization to the West. So in order to achieve that, they have to control Turkey. They have to manipulate the Central Asia and the Muslim majority countries. When you have, if you have a chance to look at those leaked documents, they do say that very clearly. These are the Chinese government's own documents, especially the ones that show no mercy, that leaked by and reported at New York Times a little over a year ago. On that document, they do say that when West finds out, they will criticize, they will whine, and they will scream, but ignore it. Just ignore and continue what we are doing here. So those are the kind of orders has been given. And also, I was born and raised in East Turkestan, and I educated there. I went to university there, so we know what their goal and what they wanted. You know, when I was there at the university, we used to hear like brainwashing and like self-promoting of the communist propagandas, and before I left, actually, I started to hear those kind of, claims and the slogans coming out like, last century is century of humiliation, and this century is century of retaliation. What does that mean? Last century, yes, China claimed that they were victims of the West, humiliating them by calling them a sickness of the world, and the taking Hong Kong and the Macau and the Appian, Appian War. But when they say this is the century of retaliation, what does that mean? Retaliation against who? It's not retaliation against the Uyghurs or Tibetans or Southern Mongolians or Hong Kongers. It's the retaliation of all human beings who respect human dignity, and anybody who believes in original thought or any kind of religion. So we all need to wake up and see the real threat that this Chinese Communist regime is being.
The last thing I'd like to ask you, Rushan, is what more do you think, you already kind of answered this earlier in our conversation, but what more do you think Turkey could be doing to, alongside, say, other nations like the United States, especially as we're moving into a new administration, what can they do together to continue to push for more action to protect Uyghurs, the rights of the Uyghurs, and push back on China's policies that are, against human rights of all sorts?
Yeah, we see that the Turkish government's position with needing to have access to Chinese market and doing business with China. But all we want is, we are not saying that Turkey should go to war with China or cut off any relationship, but be firm, take a decisive action, because you can do business with the government while you demand them to show a respect for human dignity and protect your Uyghur brothers and sisters. Therefore, we continue to plead for the Turkish government to continue as our Turkic brothers and sisters and protect the Uyghurs and stop this genocide. As we trust Turkey as a whole country, and also President Erdogan can be a savior of the Uyghurs, because they have that leverage over China. They can be, strong when they negotiate those trade deals. And we, just as simple things, very, very simple things, like if China wants to do business with Turkey, then protect even the Turkish citizens, the Uyghur, Turkish citizens, the Uyghurs who has Turkish passport. There are so many Uyghurs actually married to the actual, Turkish people. They are in concentration camps. And those Uyghurs who are Turkish citizens, they have no access to their family members. And just bring up those issues. And we really happy that Turkey made the statement a couple of times in the United Nations and the OIC. And we know that they are doing whatever they can, and they notice their obligations, but we also ask them to have a courage to continue act with the integrity as the leader amongst the Islamic countries, most of whom have been completely silent on this matter. And that's why Turkish government's actions are very important, and we are very appreciative. And we want to see some actual tangible actions before it's too late.
Rushan, it was a pleasure to have you on Turkey Abroad, and I really do hope that you can come back and we can discuss more down the line. But I also wish you the best of luck with your campaign and also with your fundraising efforts. All the best to you.
Thank you so much, and you have a happy holidays and Merry Christmas and the Happy New Year.
Thank you very much. My name is Nicholas Morgan, and this is Turkey Abroad.